Hello everybody, welcome to a new lore play video, and today I'm going to talk about Roderika, our friendly spirit tuner friend, and some interesting things about her character and questline. So we first encounter Roderika in a rundown shack en route to Stormvale Castle. She's a little out of sight, seeking reprieve from the raging winds. At first I thought she might be injured, but instead she's just sitting, but frozen in fear. Roderika is suffering from shock from what she's witnessed up ahead.
They crossed the sea for me, they fought for me. Only to have their arms taken, their legs taken, even their heads taken. Taken and stuck to the spider.
She speaks of grafting and the horrors that await in Stormvale Castle. As she may have been one of the first NPCs you might have encountered on your first playthrough, she serves as an effective method of world building, your mind trying to comprehend what possibly she could have seen. She talks of limbs and spiders. The spider she refers to here is most likely a grafted scion, which is not only the first boss fight you ever do, but an enemy you can also find inside of Stormvale Castle. Looking at the model, it bears the most resemblance to a spider because of the multiple legs, just like spiders have. But not just multiple legs, arms as well, hands, fingers, feathers, what looks like wings. This is a biological marvel, a living, breathing, fighting amalgamation. Something that shouldn't exist, and yet does. And it is horrifying. This is what Roderika must have witnessed, which explains why she's so understandably frightened. And on top of that, the creature is made up of people that she knew, watching them get dismembered and turned into a pinnacle of body horror.
Did you know, if you're grafted by the spider, you become a chrysalid? It's quite a lark when you think about it.
At first it might seem as if Roderika isn't making too much sense here. She is shaken up, trying to make light of the situation, using humour as a coping mechanism. But there is some truth in what she is saying. Those who are grafted become chrysalids. A chrysalid or chrysalis is a term used for butterfly pupae when a caterpillar forms a hard protective layer around itself so it can metamorphose into its adult form, a butterfly. But what does this have to do with Roderika and grafting? Well, it's actually quite a bittersweet analogy. In Stormvale Castle, next to the room with the grafted scion, there is a pile of body bags. These are the victims of grafting, their parts harvested, and now with no further use, they are disposed of, thrown to the dogs to pick apart their corpses. And what do they look like? They look like pupae. Roderika witnessed this, and as a way to protect her mental state, or perhaps through sheer naivety, she truly believes that they were turned into chrysalids. After seeing this, she fled all the way to the Stormhill shack.
Can you pass on a message for me? If you see the little chrysalids in Stormvale Castle, tell them I love them. And that, despite my craven heart, I'm sure I'll be joining their club soon enough.
Roderika is too traumatized to return back to the castle, so she asks us to deliver a message on her behalf. By joining their club, she's likely referring to the fact that she will soon be captured and used for grafting as well. It's ambiguous whether she truly understands the implications of becoming a chrysalid, but she most definitely no longer has any desire to fight and survive. If you go through the motions of delivering Roderika's message, approaching the chrysalids, you'll find an item. Memento left by the chrysalids sacrificed for grafting. A brooch wrapped in red velvet. Traces of blood are visible. This memento might not have any significance to us, but it does to Roderika.
Oh, my men. Oh, goodness me. I can't.
The brooch image and its design aren't connected to anything else I could find in the game, so its symbol isn't something we're supposed to recognise, but it does trigger a turning point in Roderika's journey. This memento is a sign that others believed in her.
They all believed in me. They all thought I'd make something of myself, me, who can't do anything.
What is interesting is that she refers to the chrysalids as her men, like she is the one in a position of power, and her men being the individuals who work under her. This is because Roderika is royalty. We know this because of one characteristic as a part of her design, her red cape, a hooded cloak of vivid crimson, worn by expatriated royalty. Expatriate has two meanings. The first being a person who is currently living outside of their native country. So Roderika is a royal originating from somewhere else, but is currently residing in the lands between. And then it can also mean to be banished from their native country, meaning Roderika was exiled from her place of origin. The item's description goes on to say, such cloaks were gifted to those who departed on journeys without specific orders, to faraway lands from which they would never return. In other words, the gift of a cloak made it easier for undesirable to be on their way. Now this last line seems a little bit clunky in my opinion. Could it be implying that the royalty are not wanted in their homelands? This would then prove that the second definition of expatriate, meaning to be exiled, would make more sense here. I looked back at the Japanese original line and translated it into English, and it appeared to read more like never to return, in other words, good riddance. I'm once again asking any fluent Japanese speakers if they can help provide a better idea of what exactly this line is trying to convey. Please go ahead and leave a comment as to your interpretation. I'm going to assume for the most part that Roderika wouldn't be missed in her place of origin, but regardless of whether this was by choice or by force, Roderika has some sort of noble blood, which is also supported by the gestures that she eventually provides us with. She gives us the sit sideways and curtsy gesture, both of which are actions associated with one who's gone through the decorum and manners training. Now knowing of Roderika's origin, this sheds some light on her first words to us.
Everyone who came with me, they crossed the sea for me, they fought for me.
The chrysalids, Roderika's men, were fiercely loyal to her until the very end. They left her a message to show their undying belief in her. And with this, Roderika snaps out of her daze and makes the decision to focus on bettering herself.
I think I'll head to the round table hold. Perhaps I'll find my purpose there.
This line at first may not sound strange, but how does Roderika know what the round table hold is, let alone where it is located? The round table hold is located outside of this world. It can only be reached through sites of grace. When we, the Tarnished, were called back to the lands between, we were lucky enough to be blessed by being able to see grace, but that didn't automatically make us know how to get to the round table hold. The only reason that we became aware of its location is because we were informed by and guided there by Melina. So that must be how Roderika was made aware, right? Well, not quite. She is actually impeded by one thing. Roderika never once saw the guidance of grace. So how does Roderika access a site of grace to then get to the round table hold if she cannot see grace in the first place? Well, technically, do you need to be able to see grace in order to use a site of grace? Think of grace like a navigation system, like your GPS. It gives you directions in order to lead you to your desired location, or specifically, following your destiny. And as getting to the round table hold can only be accomplished by using a site of grace, if you happen to know exactly where a site of grace is located, potentially you might be able to use it without actually needing to see it. And there happens to be a site of grace right next to the shack where Roderika is residing, so perhaps there is a small chance that she might have seen us or another Tarnished use it to get to the round table hold, so she memorized its location so that she in turn can use it. It seems almost too easy. The Round Table Hold isn't as protected as you might think. They really should at least have a password. Luckily, I know someone who can help. I have to say that this video is sponsored by NordVPN. NordVPN is a trusted virtual private network with advanced privacy features. Their service allows you to connect to and browse the internet safely. For example, NordVPN can help protect you against malware, dangerous files that contain viruses, trojans, worms, and even keyloggers. You might think you are downloading legitimate software, but actually, your device has now been infected without you even realizing. But with NordVPN, in addition to the secure VPN service, they also have a threat protection tool. It will scan the files for you to make sure that you're not downloading any malware from known malicious websites. Also, NordVPN's dark web monitor will alert you if any of your credentials start appearing on any underground hacker websites. If you only use one password across all your different account logins, then if your data gets compromised, hackers will easily be able to access all of your accounts. I use NordPass, their free password manager, to generate strong passwords for each of my different logins. No more writing passwords on bits of paper or post-it notes and leaving it on your desk or in your drawer. If you use my link below, nordvpn.com/misschalice, you can get a huge discount with the purchase of a 2-year plan. You will get an extra 4 months free. And if for any reason you're not feeling it, it's absolutely risk-free with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee. Please consider utilizing my deal to improve your online security. Thank you, NordVPN, and now let's return back to the video. So, when you go to the Round Table Hold, you will find Roderika standing by the fireplace. She is still apprehensive, but thanks us for helping her on her way.
It was as if I was frozen with self-pity. I failed them at every turn. You have my gratitude.
Roderika won't forgive herself for the deaths of her men, the guilt weighing on her heavily. Although she has arrived at the Round Table Hold, she is unsure of what exactly she can do here. Speaking to Hugh, the blacksmith, he offers an interesting observation about the newly arrived Roderika.
A girly boy. She's crestfallen and can scarcely swing a blade. But she has a gift for spirit tuning. I saw another one like her long ago. Their eyes share the same hue.
Hugh senses that Roderika possesses a special ability, spirit tuning. Not merely the simple act of imbuing strength, it is an art that lies somewhere between tuning an instrument and conducting a conversation, leaving both parties enriched. Roderika has a connection to the spirits. If you recall back to when we gave her the chrysalid's memento, it wasn't just a physical object that was significant. There appear to be spectral wisps surrounding it. Faintly visible spirits try to convey something, but their voices cannot be heard. But Roderika may have been able to understand them, which is why she is so moved after receiving the memento. She heard the voices or feeling of the spirits. It also explains why Roderika gives us the spirit summon when you first meet her, spirit jellyfish ashes.
The spirits look rather fondly upon you. It'll be glad of your company, I think, the little un.
Roderika has a natural talent for communing with the spirits, and she knows this in her heart, which is why she takes the next steps towards her true potential by gathering the courage to ask Hugh to train her so that she can then harness this power.
If I do have this talent, and goodness knows it would be my first, I suppose I should try to hone it, shouldn't I? I'll ask Master Hugh to teach me.
Hugh protests at first, but you insist, and the next time you return to the Round Table, Roderika will have moved from her original position and has now set up shop across from Hugh. Hugh is a little rough around the edges, but as Roderika puts it, he has a good heart. And the reason why he relented was because Roderika reminded him of someone.
I'm indebted to a spirit tuner I met long ago. It was all I could do to honour her.
When Hugh saw Roderika for the first time, He caught a glimpse in her eyes, a reflection of an old friend, and coupled with the fact that Roderika possessed the same skills as her, he thought it would be fitting to pay his respects in this way. From the way he speaks about this late spirit tuner, he was obviously very close to her until she passed away. So to prolong her memory, he shows Roderika all he could recall from his time with this spirit tuner, and from there, Roderika can continue the practice of communing and strengthening our summonable spirits.
I have you to thank, don't I? For persuading Master Hugh. I can happily announce that he has taught me the noble toil of spirit tuning.
Something that I didn't mention yet, but that you might be wondering, why is Roderika no longer wearing her signature red cloak? Well, this change happens when you reload after asking Hugh to teach spirit tuning to Roderika. She moves location and the cloak is nowhere to be seen, and it's my belief that this is because it's such an eye-catching part of her character design. The fact that we no longer see it is meant to make us question its absence. The cloak represents Roderika's connection to royalty, her place of origin, and most importantly, her past. She constantly mentioned how she was too frightened to act, how she wasn't brave enough, or how she wasn't good at anything. If you come to an impasse with thoughts like these, it is up to you and you alone how you're going to proceed. You can either let it control you, rule your psyche, or you can rise above it, which is easier said than done. But if you develop this willpower, you become the master of your own fate. With our help and the guidance of Master Hugh, Roderika realizes her potential and seizes this opportunity.
Roderika, the Spirit Tune Apprentice. Pleased to make your acquaintance.
With that, she can leave behind her burdens, for she now has carved a path for herself, instead of remaining in stagnating fear and guilt. To support this interpretation, Roderika actually left her cloak somewhere where that we can find it. Specifically, back in Stormvale Castle, we can find the Crimson Hood atop the pile of chrysalids. This item is not available any sooner. These order of events solidify that this definitely must have occurred after Roderika's decision to pursue spirit tuning further. So she must have returned to the castle to where she previously fled after seeing the grafting and come face to face with the chrysalids again. Although it wasn't directly her fault that her men perished, she needs to get closure for their deaths, to perceive reality as it is. These are not chrysalids. They are bodies in bags, the bodies of those she once knew and those who died for her. And once she has come to terms with the truth, she leaves her cloak on their final resting place as both a farewell to them and to her past self. But this doesn't mean she has forgotten all about her men. When Roderika starts practicing spirit tuning, she mentions something quite heartwarming.
And if there's any chance to ease the suffering of my dear men who were grafted, well, I certainly must try.
It's very enjoyable to watch Roderika develop into a self-assured, selfless individual, finding her calling and dedicating her life to calming the spirits of the deceased. Now, I can't make a video on Roderika without mentioning Berserk. And I know it's constantly memed about that not everything is a reference to Berserk, but there is a large amount of evidence that supports that Roderika's character draws inspiration from Farnese. For those who haven't read Berserk, as a spoiler-free summary, Farnese and Roderika have incredibly similar backgrounds, character arcs, and even physical appearances. And to support this connection, the name of Roderika's voice actress, Helen Monks, appeared next to a character called Lost Royal Farnese in the early version of the game's credits. The character name then changes later to credit her as Roderika. But to go into what their exact similarities are involves discussing potential spoilers for Berserk, so if you want to avoid these, please feel free to skip ahead to the next chapter in this video. And with that warning out of the way, let's talk about Farnese. Like Roderika, Farnese is also born of royalty. We don't know much about Roderika's childhood, but Farnese was a tyrant, a spoiled and chaotic child. Her bad behaviour culminated into her being sent away to a convent. This draws a parallel to Roderika being possibly banished from her native country for some reason. Perhaps Roderika did something to warrant this. And when Farnese encounters Guts, he helps her realise that she is just escaping her personal issues. She sees a glimmer of hope in joining Guts' entourage. She asks to join him, and to show that she is serious in dedicating herself to this cause, she cuts off part of her hair. This demonstrates her letting go of her pride. This is in a similar way to when Roderika leaves behind her red cloak, letting go of her past, but also as a symbol that she is no longer shrouding herself, hiding away from her fears. Both women vow to find their purpose, but this is easier said than done. Farnese struggles with keeping up with Guts. She fails, then is tasked with guarding Casca. She then fails again and proceeds to lose her. This is Farnese's realization that she is powerless, weak, and cannot help anyone at her current state. A similar moment occurs when Roderika realizes that she cannot progress until she faces her fears. When the opportunity arises, Roderika asks Hugh to teach her how to spirit tune, and in a similar fashion, Farnese asks Shirka to teach her magic. They both get an intense feeling of fulfillment. Farnese no longer feels small and insignificant, but powerful. And like what she does matters. And Roderika thrives under Hugh's teaching, honing her craft.
Master Hugh said it himself, actually, that I'm no mere apprentice any longer. Once again, I'm pleased to make your acquaintance. Roderika, the certified spirit tuner.
So how does Roderika's questline end? This involves speaking about endgame spoilers as well, so if you're not ready to hear those, finish the game and come back here. Okay, so now it's just the Elden Lords that remain. Let's continue. As the events of the wider game progresses, we eventually set fire to the Erd Tree. And as a result, the Round Table Hold is also affected by this fire. There are a couple of theories as to what the connection between these two locations are and how they interact. The one I personally like is that the Round Table Hold, as we know it, is actually a projection of another location. We know that as a hub, it exists outside the bounds of reality. So what is the real location? Well, in Leendal there is a place called the Fortified Manor, and upon exploring it further, you'll notice that the layout and decorations are identical to that of the Round Table Hold. Where is this manor located? Underneath the Erd Tree. And where is the fire most abundant in the Round Table Hold? The ceiling, as if the embers from the tree above are raining down, landing on the roof and setting it ablaze. So this offers a possible explanation as to why the Round Table Hold is on fire. How exactly does everyone react to this? Roderika is only here because she's formed an attachment to Hugh.
I need your help persuading Master Hugh to leave. His roots are so knotted in this place. He won't last much longer if he stays here.
And he will not leave until his purpose has been fulfilled. Master Hugh's mission is to craft a weapon that can kill a god, and we're the ones who will wield that weapon.
It is what I wish. To smith a weapon for you to slay a god.
I'd like to dedicate a video just for Hugh, as his story is truly heartbreaking. And at the next game's milestone, Hugh no longer remembers who we are.
Could you tell me what happened? Why is the Round Table burning? In ruins. Why does that girl weep for me?
Roderika cries for him. He was like a father to her. He took care of her, took her under his wing, and now it comes for her to take care of him.
I think we could talk him into leaving the Round Table Hold now, but maybe it's better that we don't. It's only proper that we respect his choice to stay.
Roderika does not want to take advantage of Hugh's state, once again displaying incredible consideration for other people, and in a valiant, selfless last decision, she decides to stay.
I'll remain with Hugh. He made me who I am today. I'd like to return the kindness in whatever small way I can.
We do not see anything further regarding these two characters, so it is implied that Hugh stayed at the Round Table Hold whilst it burnt down to the ground, with Roderika remaining at his side. Or perhaps we became Elden Lord in time to create a new world that would override this to stop them perishing in such a tragic manner. Regardless, Roderika's final conversation with us demonstrates how far she has come. She does not falter in the face of death, so far away from the trembling, fearful young woman we saw cowering in the shack at the beginning.
Please, become Elden Lord. Hugh was always saying that you were a lord to him. So slay her with the weapons he smithed. Slay the god Marika, who cursed us all.
These last words of hers give me goosebumps, words filled with conviction and intent. Although it is a sad goodbye, knowing that we can fulfill her last wish provides me with some comfort. It's difficult to talk about Roderika without mentioning Hugh. Hugh has a lot to him that I'd like to dedicate my own video to, as I said, so let me know if you'd be interested in that. Thank you everyone so much for watching this video. I absolutely love doing lore plays and I'm really pleased that you like it as well. If you'd like to see more pictures, feel free to follow my socials that are linked below. See the behind the scenes of me deciding my video topics and getting my cosplays and crafting. That's what I'm going to be uploading on my Patreon and YouTube memberships as well. So thank you everyone so much. Thank you to my members and my patrons. Reese's 5, Jawbite, Kyle Coldwell, Hellborn Hero, Ratoya Blom, Excel Turtle, Bloodfallen 223, Jeremy, Monkaru, Kichu, Joe Africano, Nubist, Chase, Just Nick, Kevin H, Taganon Dowell, Tabris, Jonathan Veras, Turnished Ozzy, Milo Raglan, Daunted 232, Dark Souls Weeb, Grislify, Lord Horatius, Echo Sanvich, Joachim Westman, Bucky, Liver22, Trip Kennedy, STK True, Meskir, Lua420HZ, Carcharodon Zastra, Country123, Delanator90, Vinicius Arajo Lego, Frozen Over, Matthew, Jacob McComas, Oblivion's Muse, Kyle Motta, Bridget Pettigrew, Goth Reaper, Tim, Caleb Sadlowski, Spartan PK99, Bilbo, Isakide, Occult Hair, Lord Mud, Joey Vision, Omni Rainbow, Motocross Cooper, Foam, Josh Moyle, Lord Glacier, Reign of Pain, Andrew Haynes, Akura, Justice for Radan, J-Dub, S Keith 001, Can I Win Please, Chungo Bob, Fallen Mind, Mr. Alex Sun, Raglan Strom, Vincent E.M. Thorne, Cheskimo, Nox Camelius, Julie, David Matheson, Chris Ritson, Mug, Law Lover, Marco Rush, Roxy Zeppeli, Levante Trass, Charlotte96, Mr. H, Shamrock219, Dan Dingley, Jack Tesla, Eduardo Souza, Brandon Lopez, Dylan Schnabel, Bugboy001, Yoshida May Shoin, Arlen Levy, PhD Cola, Hiragi, Joshua Waite, Drex Lighthead, Kevin Culkins, Kalmar, Mark Sharon, Wrath Sponge, Phyrexian Sleeper Agent, Alex, Raz, Emma, Jack Simpson, Gaping Donut, Jacob Thu, Fancy Pants Pikachu, and E.T. Thank you everyone so much.